is January once again, which means it is time to discuss all of my reading stats from the previous year and my reading goals for the upcoming year. I will have all of the stats with some visual aids included, and then we'll dive into my 2025 reading goals. There will be timestamps in the description if you want to just skip to a certain part of the video. I'm excited for this. This is an interesting video to do every year, so let's discuss. Hello, beautiful people of the internet. How are you doing today? My name is Jackie and welcome back to my YouTube channel, or welcome if you are new around here. So on this channel, I post all about my reading and writing. I'm also going to have a video talking about my writing year that's going to come out next week. So do hit that subscribe button if you want to see that when it comes out. But today we are talking about my reading from 2024 and what I am looking to work towards in 2025 in terms of my reading goals. So let's get into the stats. First things first. In 2024, my Goodreads reading goal was 75 books, and I ended up reading exactly 75 books. So hit that goal, and I did actually start reading a long book at the end of the year once I had met my goal, because I kind of considered it like a week of free reading time, if you know what I mean. All year long, I was keeping track of my pages read and my average rating. So across 2024, I read 24,776 pages, which is almost the same as the year before. I think maybe it was like 100 pages more, but they were very similar numbers. As for my average star rating, it came out to 3.67 out of 5, which is higher than my 2023 average rating, which was a 3.52. So the average rating went up, which is good. I will say in 2024, I read a lot of good books, didn't read that many that I disliked. I also don't know if I read a lot that I was absolutely obsessed with, but I would say it was a pretty consistent reading year overall. Now let's go to my genre breakdown, all of the genres that I read in 2024, assuming that I counted correctly. So my most read genre, surprise, surprise, was mystery. I read 20 mystery books. Oh, and another caveat, there are obviously some books that could fit multiple categories, so I put them in the categories that I think they fit best in, if you know what I mean. So, out of my 75 books, 20 mysteries, 17 historical mysteries. I added this as its own category, I think last year or the year before, because I read a lot of historical mysteries. It's the genre that I write, so I felt like it deserved its own category. That was number 2. Then number 3 was thriller. I read 15 thrillers. Look at me, I'm just all about the mysteries and the twists. That's what I read. Then after that, historical fiction / mythological books. I read 11 of those, 5 nonfiction books, only 4 classics, and 3 other genres that didn't fit into any of those above categories. So it was a good year for the mysteries and the thrillers. I kind of failed epically at my goal to read more classics. Did read The Count of Monte Cristo though, which I'm proud of because it was a long ass book and I really enjoyed it. So I did accomplish that, but I only read 4 classics, which was not what I was hoping for. We'll talk about that again in the goals section. Now let's also look at the gender of the authors that I read. Every year when I look at this, the female authors outnumber the male authors significantly in my reading, and this year was no different. Obviously, I'm a woman, so I'm a little biased. I enjoy reading books by women, about women, for women. So, sorry, male authors, you are once again the minority in my reading. I read, I believe, 54 female authors, 18 male authors, and there were 3 like anthologies or collections where they had obviously multiple authors of different genders, so that was its own category. Overwhelmingly a female-centric year once again. I make no apologies for it, but I think maybe in 2025 I'll try to read at least 20 books by men. Is that doable? Just because, I mean, it is a little bit sad. You know what I mean? The longest book that I read was The Count of Monte Cristo. This chunk. I have wanted to read this for so long, but I was scared of it because of its size. And finally, 2024, I read this tome, and I have to say, it was really, really good. So I'm super happy that I read this, even though I kind of failed at the reading classics goal as a whole. The shortest book that I read was Galatea. Ooh, it's the wrong way. Was Galatea by Madeline Miller, which is technically a short story, but I counted it for the Goodreads Reading Challenge since it is a published book with its own Goodreads listing. So, longest, shortest, look how they look kind of comic next to each other. And I think the last stat that we have to look at is series that I read, because every year I say I want to continue reading series and not start too many new series. But this is continually difficult because, like I said, I love historical mysteries. I write them, I love reading them, and most historical mysteries are series. So I am reading a lot of series. Now, in 2024, I started 12 new series, and I continued 12 series. Now, there are a few caveats to this because, well, one, some of the series that I continued were also series that I started. Like, for instance, in 2024, I read book 1 in the series. That counts for starting a series. But then I also read book 2 in the same series, which counts for continuing the series. You know what I mean? And also, out of all of the series that I started, I'm not going to continue all of them. I wrote down that there were at least 3 out of the 12 that I'm sure I will not be continuing. I'm just not interested. And there's 2 where I'm unsure, like I might continue the series. If people tell me that it's really good, I might not. So for what that's worth, I'm not committing to 12 new series. I also got caught up on the Veronica Speedwell series this year, which is the series that got me into historical mystery books in the first place. So I feel really good about that I'm all caught up on the series now. And hopefully this year I can get caught up on some more series. But there are a lot of historical mystery series, and some of them go on for like 20 books. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So that is it for my 2024 reading stats, and let's talk about my 2025 reading goals. As I say every year, my reading goals are just meant to be fun. I'm not going to beat myself up if I don't achieve all of the goals, because reading is supposed to be fun. We're all here because we enjoy books, and reading is not a competition, okay? So these are not to be taken that seriously. First, like I said, in 2024, my Goodreads Reading Challenge goal was 75 books, and I am going to make it 75 books again this year. I think the most that I've ever read in a year since I've been keeping track was 77. So I want to get close to that, but I also want to have time for other things, for writing, for getting out of the house, for traveling, and just doing whatever I want to do. So I don't necessarily want every year to be higher than the year before. I just want to read a number of books that is sustainable for me and that makes me feel good. So 75, I think, is achievable. If I surpass 75, cool. That's great. If I need to lower the goal, that's all right too. It doesn't really matter. I have this goal pretty much every year, so say it with me now. Continue series. Yay! That is going to be a goal again for 2025 because I'm reading a lot of series, a lot of historical mystery series, a couple just contemporary mystery series. I would really like to get caught up with the Thursday Murder Club series this year. I love those books. They are so, so good. I think there's a new Thursday Murder Club book coming out in 2025 or 2026. So if I can read The Last Devil to Die before then, that would be great. I want to continue my many historical mystery series and just stay on top of this series TBR. Because the other thing about reading a series is if you go too long between books, or at least this is how it is for me, I kind of forget who the characters are and what's happening. So if there's a series that I want to continue, I need to commit to continuing it before I forget who everyone is and end up DNFing the series without meaning to. That's going to be one of my goals for 2025, and we'll see how that goes. I can't promise that I won't start any new series because there are so many series that sound good. So, might start a couple or more than a couple. We'll see. Now, like I said, in 2024, I made reading classics a goal. I think I said I wanted to read at least 6, and I didn't do that. Okay? I didn't do that. It's okay. It's okay. But we're going to try again this year, and I'm going to make this goal super attainable. All right? There is no reason why I can't do this. I want to read at least some of the classics that I have physically on my shelf. I have a Penguin Clothbound Classics for Middlemarch by George Eliot and Villette by Charlotte Bronte. I have had those for years and they're beautiful, but right now they're just props. So I'm going to read those this year. I'm speaking it into existence. And I also have copies of Tess of the D'Urbervilles by Thomas Hardy, which I won in college playing Victorian novels trivia. I got first place. And I also have a copy of The Age of Innocence, which I have had since high school. I started it and I never finished it. And I looked up the Spark Notes so that I could write my paper. I think I told that full story in the Books I'm Ashamed I Haven't Read Yet video. So link that in the card. My apologies to my favorite high school English teacher for deceiving him. I didn't intend to, but that's what ended up happening. So I have all of those on my shelf, and right now they're just collecting dust. But I think feasibly I can read at least 3, if not all 4, of those this year. And I think that would be a good goal that I definitely can achieve. So we'll check back in 12 months to see if I did it. Finally, the other goal that I have for my 2025 reading is to maybe do some rereads. I don't think in 2024 I really reread any books at all. I can't think of one. So this year I think it might be fun to reread some books that I enjoy just to have fun and revisit some old favorites. Maybe I'll do a reread of a Jane Austen novel. Jane Austen's my all-time favorite author, and I haven't reread her in a while. Pride and Prejudice is my favorite book of all time. I think I will probably reread The Secret at Chimneys by Agatha Christie because I have its sequel, The Seven Dials Mystery. I want to read that this year, so I'll probably reread the first book, which I remember really enjoying, just to remind myself who some of the characters are. I have a copy of The Kite Runner that I got at a little free library, and I've wanted to reread that because I read it for assigned reading in 9th grade a long time ago, and I remember liking it, but I think now as a almost 26-year-old person, I probably will get more out of it just because I'm older, more mature, and I think it'll just, impact me more as a 26-year-old than it would have as a 14-year-old. And I'm also considering rereading The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson, which is one of my all-time favorite thrillers, because he did write some sequels to that, and I may want to read the sequels. I've dragged my feet on it because I don't think The Kind Worth Killing, strictly speaking, needs a sequel, and so I was scared, is the sequel going to ruin the first book? But I feel like maybe I should give the sequels a try. I will need to reread The Kind Worth Killing in order to start the sequel, though, because while I remember Lily as a character, I don't remember who Henry Kimball is at all. So if I'm going to read books where he plays a prominent role, I should probably remember who he is. Does anybody else wish that series came with those previously on recaps like a TV show does? Because sometimes I go a long time between books and I'm like, who are you again? No offense, it's just you read so many books, sometimes it's hard to remember all the characters you encounter, you know what I mean? Okay, everyone, those are my 2024 reading stats and 2025 reading goals. As always, I'm keeping it pretty chill. This is supposed to be fun. We're all here to have fun. Reading is not a competition, and you shouldn't beat yourself up about it, okay? Just do what feels natural to you, and don't compare yourself to other readers. Let me know in the comment section what are some of your reading goals for this new year. I would really like to hear from you. And if you're still here watching and you want to show your support, but you don't know what to comment, why don't you leave the celebration emoji down below? Please give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed. It really does help me and my channel. And subscribe if you want to see more from me. I post new videos every single week. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye, and I'll see you next time.